The massive alien ship appeared in Earth's orbit without warning. It dwarfed even the largest human space stations, casting a shadow visible from the surface as it passed before the sun. Around the world, people pointed to the sky in fear and wonder. In the command center of the Earth Alliance headquarters in Geneva, military leaders and government officials gathered in stunned silence as the main screen displayed the vessel. Its dark hull gleamed with strange symbols that pulsed with an eerie blue light. "How did they get so close without detection?" asked General Frank Miller, his weathered face tense as he studied the readings. "Unknown, sir," said Lieutenant Jack Harrison, analyzing data at his station. "They didn't trigger any of our early warning systems. It's like they just appeared." Jack was 32 with short brown hair and alert eyes that missed little. After serving for 10 years in the Earth Alliance military, he had developed a reputation for seeing patterns others missed. Right now, every instinct told him they faced something far beyond human experience. "We're receiving a transmission," announced the communications officer. The screen flickered, revealing a humanoid figure with pale, almost translucent skin and large, pupilless eyes. When it spoke, its thin lips barely moved, yet everyone heard. The words clearly in their minds. "People of Earth, we are the Craxus Empire, rulers of 2,000 worlds across this galaxy. Your primitive species has been observed and found worthy of our attention. You will submit to our authority and serve the Empire, or face extinction. This is not a negotiation." President Laura Bennett stepped forward. At 65, she had led the Earth Alliance through its first decade of interplanetary expansion. "This is President Bennett representing Earth. We welcome peaceful contact with other civilizations, but we are a sovereign people. Perhaps we can discuss—" "Silence," the alien interrupted. "The Craxus do not discuss. We command. You have advanced enough to be useful, but not enough to resist. Your species will serve or be eradicated. We offer the mercy of survival in exchange for your eternal servitude." The screen went dark. "They've positioned themselves above major population centers," reported the tactical officer. "Sensors detect weapons charging." "All defense systems to maximum readiness," ordered General Miller, "and get me a direct line to our Mars and Europa colonies." In the chaos that followed, Jack noticed something unusual in the alien transmission. He replayed it, focusing on the background behind the Craxus ambassador. Strange symbols scrolled across screens, similar to the markings on the ship's hull. "Sir," he called to General Miller, "I need to show you something." Before he could explain, alarms blared throughout the facility. "We have weapons fire," shouted the tactical officer. "They're targeting our Mars outpost." On screen, the human military base on Mars erupted in flames as energy beams sliced through its dome. The destruction was complete in seconds, leaving nothing but a smoking crater. 342 personnel, whispered someone. "All gone." "They're broadcasting again," said the communications officer, voice shaking. The Craxus ambassador reappeared. "This demonstration should clarify our intentions. You have 7 Earth days to prepare your surrender. When we return, your leaders will kneel before our emissaries and accept the terms of your servitude. Resistance will result in the destruction of your population centers, beginning with this city." After the transmission ended, President Bennett turned to her advisors. "Options? Our weapons would be useless against their technology," said General Miller. "Based on what they did to Mars, they could wipe us out before we even fired a shot. So we just surrender?" asked Defense Secretary Carla Watson. "Become slaves?" "No," Jack spoke up. "There might be something we can use." All eyes turned to him. "Lieutenant Harrison, explain," ordered President Bennett. Jack stepped forward. "During both transmissions, I noticed patterns in their background displays. The symbols are similar to encryption sequences we use, but far more complex. However, there are inconsistencies that suggest their technology might not be as seamless as they want us to believe." "What kind of inconsistencies?" asked General Miller. "The command interfaces appear to be adapted from different sources. It's subtle, but the design elements don't match. It's like seeing someone using parts from different vehicles welded together." You think their technology is pieced together? From different sources? Asked Secretary Watson. I need to consult with someone, Jack replied. Dr. Olivia Wright at the Xenolinguistics Institute. She might be able to tell us more about them from their language patterns. President Bennett nodded. Do it. We need every advantage we can get. 3 hours later, Jack sat across from Dr. Olivia Wright in her office at the Institute. The walls were covered with diagrams of theoretical alien language structures. Olivia, a brilliant linguist with auburn hair pulled back in a practical bun, studied the transmission recordings with intense focus. This is fascinating, she said finally. Their language has elements from at least 3 distinct linguistic families. The primary structure resembles what we've theorized as Class 3 communication patterns, but there are embedded phrases and concepts from other sources. What does that tell us? Jack asked. Olivia turned to him, excitement in her eyes despite the grim situation. It suggests the Craxus aren't original creators. Their civilization appears to be built on conquest rather than innovation. They've absorbed elements from other cultures they've encountered, or possibly conquered. So they've stolen most of their technology, Jack concluded. Exactly. And people who steal technology often don't fully understand how it works. They can use it, but they may not grasp the underlying principles. Jack leaned forward. Could that give us an advantage? Possibly. Every system has weaknesses. If they don't fully understand their own technology, those weaknesses might be exploitable. Before they could discuss further, Jack's communication device chimed. It was General Miller. Harrison, report to headquarters immediately. The Craxus ship has deployed smaller vessels. They're establishing positions around Earth. And we've detected more large ships entering the solar system. Jack looked at Olivia. We need you to come too. Your insights could be crucial. As they hurried to the transport, they looked up at the darkening sky. More alien ships were becoming visible as tiny points of light, surrounding Earth like a net, closing around prey. 7 days, Olivia murmured, to find a way to fight an enemy that's conquered thousands of worlds. Jack's face hardened with determination. Then we better not waste a minute. 2 days after the Craxus ultimatum, Jack Harrison and Olivia Wright found themselves on a small transport ship heading towards Saturn's largest moon, Titan. The vessel moved quietly through space, its systems running at minimum power to avoid detection by the alien ships now surrounding Earth. Commander Alan Morris sat across from them in the cramped cabin. He was a tall man with dark skin and a serious expression that rarely changed. As the head of special operations for the Earth Alliance, he had been given authority to pursue any lead that might save humanity. The mission is classified, Morris explained. 4 years ago, a research team on Titan discovered something in the methane ice, something not human. Alien artifacts? Asked Olivia, her eyes widening. Morris nodded. The findings were hidden from the public. Only a few people know about it. Why keep it secret? Jack asked. Fear, Morris said simply. The artifact suggested we weren't alone, and possibly not the first intelligent life in our solar system. The politicians weren't ready for that message. The small ship shuddered as it entered Titan's thick atmosphere. Through the viewport, they could see the orange haze surrounding the moon. Below, dark methane lakes reflected the distant sun like mirrors. The pilot guided them toward a small research station half buried in the icy surface. No lights were visible. Station's been abandoned for 2 years, Morris said, but the data should still be in the secure servers. They landed with a soft thud. After putting on their environmental suits, they made their way through the airlock into the dark station. Morris activated the emergency power and dim lights flickered on, revealing dusty corridors and abandoned equipment. This way, he said, leading them to a sealed door marked Restricted Access. Using his command codes, Morris opened the door to reveal a laboratory filled with strange objects. Some looked like crystals that glowed faintly even after years of being untouched. Others were metal pieces with unusual patterns etched into their surfaces. Olivia moved to a large object in the center of the room. It was a dark metal cube about 1 meter on each side, covered in symbols similar to those they had seen on the Craxus ship but not identical. This isn't Craxus, she said, but it's related somehow. Jack examined a computer terminal. Let's see what the research team discovered. After several attempts, the old system came to life. The screen displayed files labeled Archiver Records. The Archivers? Asked Jack. Morris nodded. That's what the research team called them. Apparently, they were a species that recorded the histories of countless civilizations across the galaxy. Before they disappeared about 50,000 years ago, Jack opened the files and found thousands of records, most in languages impossible to understand. But some had been partially translated by the research team. Look at this, he said, pointing to an entry. The Craxus are mentioned here. Olivia leaned closer to read the screen. According to this, the Craxus weren't always an empire. They evolved on a resource-poor planet, which pushed them to become raiders. They didn't develop most of their technology. They stole it from other civilizations. That confirms your theory, Jack said. There's more. Olivia continued reading. They rose to power by finding and exploiting the technologies of the precursors, an ancient species that disappeared even before the archivers began their records. Morris frowned. So they're using technology they didn't create and probably don't fully understand. Exactly, said Jack. And that might be their weakness. A new voice joined the conversation. I think I can help with that. They turned to see a woman standing in the doorway. She had short blonde hair and wore a standard Earth Alliance uniform with Science Division patches. Dr. Samantha Kelly, she introduced herself. Computer Systems Specialist Commander Morris asked me to join you. What do you mean you can help? Asked Jack. Dr. Kelly moved to the terminal. May I? Jack stepped aside as she began typing rapidly. The research team made more progress than they reported officially. They were afraid of what they found. Which was? Prompted Morris. The Craxus maintain control through a network of automated systems created by the precursors. They've modified these systems for their own use, but much of the underlying code remains the same. She brought up a diagram showing a complex network. This is the command structure of their empire, based on what the archivers recorded. Jack studied the diagram. It's centralized. All major systems connect to regional hubs, which connect to a central command network. Yes, said Dr. Kelly, and that's their vulnerability. Systems they barely understand but completely depend on. Could we break into that network? Asked Morris. Dr. Kelly nodded slowly. Possibly. The archivers documented a backdoor access point in the precursor systems. The Craxus have probably closed many of these, but they might not have found them all. If we could get into their command network, Jack began, we could disrupt their control over their automated systems, finished Dr. Kelly. Ships, weapons, communications, everything. Olivia, who had been examining more of the artifacts, called out, I think there's something you should see. She had activated a device that projected a three-dimensional star map into the air. Small dots of light represented thousands of stars. Several were marked in red. These red marks correspond to Craxus command centers according to the labels, she explained. But look at this one. She pointed to a mark at the edge of the map. It's labeled as the Nexus, some kind of central hub. Morris studied the map. That location would put it somewhere near Pluto's orbit in our solar system. They placed their central command hub in our solar system? Jack asked incredulously. No, said Dr. Kelly. I think they followed it here. The record suggests this Nexus is precursor technology, perhaps the most important piece they've captured. It might be why they're interested in our system at all. A sudden alarm from their ship interrupted them. Morris checked his communicator. Craxus patrols have entered Saturn's vicinity, he reported grimly. We need to grab what we can and leave now. They quickly downloaded the archiver records and took a few key artifacts, including the star map projector. As they hurried back to their ship, Olivia paused. We have 5 days left before their deadline, she said. But now we know they're not invincible. They're conquerors who rely on stolen technology. Jack nodded. And every thief has a fear that someone will steal from them what they stole from others. As their ship lifted off from Titan's surface, they could see the distant flashes of Craxus vessels moving through the Saturn system. The race to save Earth had truly begun. The Grand Hall of the United Nations in New York City was filled with world leaders and military officials. On the massive screen at the front of the room, the Craxus ambassador waited with cold, emotionless eyes. It was the day of humanity's scheduled surrender. President Bennett stood before the alien transmission, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. We are prepared to discuss the terms of our cooperation with the Craxus Empire. The alien's thin lips curved slightly. There are no terms to discuss. You will surrender unconditionally. Our ships will land and your leaders will kneel before our emissaries as a symbol of your submission. And then? Asked President Bennett. Then your species will serve the Empire. Your resources will be harvested. Your strongest will work in our mines across the galaxy. Your most intelligent will serve in our research facilities. The rest will remain here to maintain this world for our use. President Bennett nodded slowly. We understand. We request 6 hours to prepare for your arrival. Granted, said the ambassador before the transmission ended. As soon as the screen went dark, President Bennett turned to General Miller. Is everything in place? Yes, Madam President. Operation Trojan is ready to launch. While the world watched, what appeared to be preparations for surrender, a small, sleek ship waited in a hidden lunar base. The ESS Ghost Runner was unlike any other vessel in Earth's fleet. Its hull was coated with experimental materials that absorbed sensor scans rather than reflecting them. Captain Diana Pierce stood on the bridge, reviewing final preparations. She was 40, with sharp features and intense focus that had earned her a reputation as one of the fleet's most skilled commanders. All systems are ready, Captain, reported her first officer. Diana nodded. Our window opens in 30 minutes during the surrender ceremony. That's when their attention will be focused on Earth. In the ship's briefing room, Jack Harrison, Olivia Wright, and Samantha Kelly studied the mission plan with engineering specialist Ben Howard. Ben was a stocky man with calloused hands and a practical mind that could solve almost any technical problem. The virus is ready, said Dr. Kelly, holding up a small data device. Once we access their network, it will spread through their command systems like nothing they've ever seen. And you're sure it will work? Asked Jack. Based on what we learned from the archiver records, yes. It targets the specific vulnerabilities in the precursor technology the Craxus are using. Ben pointed to a holographic display of the Craxus command ship. Our biggest challenge will be getting aboard undetected. These maintenance access points here and here are our best options. Olivia studied the alien ship's layout. According to the archiver records, the Craxus rely heavily on automated systems. There should be minimal crew in these areas. Minimal still means some, Jack reminded them. And we don't know how they'll react to intruders. Captain Pierce entered the room. It's time. Everyone to your stations. As the Ghost Runner powered up, the main view screen showed the scene unfolding on Earth. Craxus ships descended toward major cities, their massive forms casting shadows over the surrendering population. Launching in 3, 2, 1, announced the pilot. The Ghost Runner slipped silently away from the lunar base, its engines barely registering on any sensors. It moved along a carefully plotted course that kept it in the shadow of larger space debris, invisible to the Craxus fleet focused on Earth below. We're approaching the command vessel, said the pilot several tense hours later. The enormous Craxus ship loomed before them, its dark hull covered with the now familiar glowing symbols. Following the plan, the Ghost Runner matched its rotation and speed, coming alongside a maintenance access point. Transmitting the mimicked maintenance protocols now, said Ben, activating a device that sent signals copied from intercepted Craxus communications. For a terrible moment, nothing happened. Then a section of the alien ship's hull slid open, revealing a docking port. It worked, breathed Jack. They think we're part of their automated maintenance system. Remember, we have 90 minutes before the automated diagnostic cycle completes, warned Captain Pierce. After that, they'll know something's wrong. The team donned specially designed suits that would help mask their human life signs from Craxus sensors. Armed with weapons reverse-engineered from the archiver data, they moved through the airlock into the alien vessel. Inside, the corridors were dimly lit with the same blue glow they had seen on the outside of the ship. Strange machinery hummed along the walls and occasionally robotic drones moved past, ignoring the human intruders thanks to the electronic countermeasures in their suits. "This way to the central database," whispered Dr. Kelly, following directions from a small device translating the alien markings. As they moved deeper into the ship, Jack noticed something odd. "Where is everyone? We've seen dozens of automated systems, but no actual Craxus." Olivia nodded. "I was thinking the same thing. For a species that commands thousands of worlds, their presence here seems minimal." They reached a vast chamber filled with towering columns of light, the central database. Dr. Kelly immediately went to work at what appeared to be an access terminal. "Cover me. This will take a few minutes," she said, connecting her device to the alien system. While she worked, Ben examined the surrounding technology with growing amazement. "This is incredible. These systems are far more advanced than anything we have, but they're clearly not all from the same source. Look at the different design elements." "Like a patchwork empire," said Jack. "Built from pieces of civilizations they've conquered." Suddenly, Olivia gasped. Looking up, they saw the reason. A doorway had opened on the far side of the chamber, and 3 Craxus were entering. The aliens were tall and thin, their movements strangely fluid as they glided rather than walked. "Hide!" hissed Jack, pulling the team behind one of the data columns. As they watched, the Craxus moved to a central platform and activated a holographic display. A 3-dimensional map of the solar system appeared, with Earth highlighted. "I can understand them," whispered Olivia, listening intently to the aliens' conversation. "They're saying something about minimal garrison requirements and automated control systems. They're discussing how few of their kind are needed to control Earth." "How few?" asked Jack. "Numbers are hard to translate exactly, but it sounds like they only have a few hundred of their actual species here. They rely on their automated systems and robots to maintain the impression of a vast army." "They're bluffing," said Ben in disbelief. "Their entire empire could be running on smoke and mirrors." Dr. Kelly continued working at the terminal. "Almost. There," she whispered. "The virus is uploading." Without warning, an alarm sounded. The Craxus across the room turned toward their position. "They've detected us," said Jack, raising his weapon. "The virus isn't complete yet," said Dr. Kelly frantically. "I need another minute." "You'll get it," said Ben, stepping out from cover. He fired his weapon at the ceiling, causing a cascade of sparks and debris that distracted the Craxus. "Go," he shouted to the others. "Get back to the ship. I'll make—" "Sure, the upload finishes." Jack hesitated, but Captain Pierce grabbed his arm. "He's right. We need to go now." As they ran back toward the docking port, the sounds of energy weapons firing echoed behind them. The Craxus were in pursuit and alarms blared throughout the ship. They reached the Ghost Runner just as more aliens converged on their position. Captain Pierce sealed the airlock. "What about Ben?" asked Olivia. Jack's face was grim. "He made his choice." As the Ghost Runner detached from the Craxus vessel and accelerated away, they watched the command ship on the view screen. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, sections of the massive vessel began to go dark as systems failed. "The virus," said Dr. Kelly softly. "It worked. Ben did it." The Ghost Runner raced back toward Earth, carrying the hope that humanity's resistance had only just begun. Chaos erupted across the solar system in the days following Operation Trojan. Dr. Kelly's virus spread through the Craxus network like wildfire, causing automated systems to fail. Robotic soldiers froze mid-step. Weapon platforms fired at empty space. Communication between Craxus ships broke down completely. On the bridge of the Earth Alliance flagship, the ESS Valiant, Admiral Peter Collins watched the main display with cautious hope. A veteran of 58 with steel-gray hair and a battle-scarred face, he had seen too much war to celebrate prematurely. "Status report," he ordered. His tactical officer studied her screens. "Craxus ships are showing erratic behavior across the system, sir. Many have lost power. Others are firing randomly. Their formation has completely collapsed." "And Earth?" asked the Admiral. "The ground invasion forces have stalled. Their automated troops are malfunctioning. The ships that landed are unable to deploy more forces." Admiral Collins nodded. Then it's time. Send the signal to all Alliance vessels. Operation Counterstrike begins now. Across the solar system, Earth's hidden fleet emerged from concealment. Though outmatched by Craxus technology, they now faced an enemy in disarray. Ships that had been hiding in asteroid fields, behind moons, and in the shadow of planets moved into attack positions. The Admiral's voice transmitted to every human vessel. "This is Admiral Collins. The enemy is vulnerable. Show them that humanity will not kneel. Attack." Aboard the Ghost Runner, now docked with the Valiant, Jack Harrison watched Earthships engage the confused Craxus fleet. The smaller, more maneuverable human vessels darted between the massive alien ships, targeting key systems with precision strikes. "It's working," he said to Olivia and Dr. Kelly, who stood beside him. "The virus has crippled their coordination." "Doctor?" Kelly nodded, but her expression remained troubled. "It's only temporary. The Craxus aren't completely dependent on their automated systems. They're already adapting, taking manual control where they can." As if to confirm her words, several Craxus vessels began to move with purpose, concentrating their fire on the Earth ships attacking them. "They're recovering," said Jack grimly. The door to the observation deck slid open and Commander Morris entered. "We've just received a priority message from Earth. The Craxus have destroyed 3 cities in retaliation for our attack. They're threatening to bombard every major population center if we don't stand down." Olivia's face paled. "How many casualties?" "Millions," Morris replied, his voice tight with anger. "And they're just getting started." Jack slammed his fist against the wall. "We need to do more than just disrupt their systems. We need to shut them down completely." "That might be possible," said Dr. Kelly, looking up from a data tablet. "I've been analyzing more of the archiver records we downloaded from Titan. The information about the Nexus is more significant than we realized." She activated a holographic display showing a glowing structure hidden within what appeared to be an asteroid. "The Nexus isn't just a command center. It's the heart of all precursor technology that the Craxus Empire relies on. It contains the original source code the Master controls." "And it's here in our solar system?" asked Jack. Dr. Kelly nodded. "Near the orbit of Pluto. I believe the Craxus came to our system because they detected the Nexus here. Earth was just a secondary target." "If we could reach it," began Olivia, "we could shut down every piece of precursor technology the Craxus control," finished Dr. Kelly. "Permanently." Commander Morris frowned. "The Craxus would guard such a valuable asset heavily." "Agreed," said Jack. "But with their systems compromised and their fleet engaged with our forces, they might be vulnerable." A sudden commotion at the entrance to the observation deck drew their attention. 2 security officers were restraining what appeared to be an alien. But it wasn't a Craxus. This creature was shorter, with mottled green skin and 4 arms. "It was found in one of our shuttle bays," explained one of the officers. "Claims it wants to help." Olivia stepped forward cautiously. "I'll try to communicate with it." She spoke, slowly in several different languages before the alien responded in broken English. "Help you fight," it said, its voice raspy but understandable. "Craxus enslave my people. Many worlds want freedom." The alien explained that it was from a species called the Drevni. The Craxus had conquered their homeworld decades ago. When news of humanity's resistance spread through covert channels, representatives from several subjugated species had come to offer alliance. "Not alone," the alien insisted. "Others come. Many hate Craxus. Many want join fight." Jack exchanged looks with Morris and Dr. Kelly. "This changes things. If other species are willing to join us, we could form a real resistance," said Morris. Admiral Collins joined them, having been notified of the alien visitor. After hearing the situation, he made a quick decision. "Lieutenant Harrison, you and your team will lead a mission to this Nexus. Take the Ghost Runner. It's our best chance of getting through undetected. I'll assign a strike team to accompany you." He turned to the Drevni alien. "Tell your allies we accept their help. We'll coordinate a joint attack on the Craxus fleet to create a diversion while Harrison's team goes for the Nexus." As preparations for the mission began, Jack found Dr. Kelly in a quiet corner, working intensely on a data tablet. "Having second thoughts?" he asked. She looked up, her expression serious. I've been thinking about what we're about to do. The Nexus doesn't just control the technology the Craxus use. It likely contains the sum total of precursor knowledge, technology far beyond our understanding. What are you saying? I'm saying we have a choice. We could use it to just defeat the Craxus, or... She paused. Or what? Prompted Jack. Or we could do something more. The Craxus maintain their power by controlling access to advanced technology. What if we did the opposite? What if we released the precursor knowledge to everyone, all species, all worlds? Jack stared at her. That would change the balance of power across the entire galaxy. Exactly. No single species could dominate through technological advantage. Again, it would be the ultimate democracy of knowledge. Before Jack could respond, the ship's alert system activated. On the main view screen, they saw a massive Craxus vessel approaching Earth. Energy weapons more powerful than any they had seen. Before we're charging. They're targeting the east coast of North America, reported the tactical officer. Admiral Collins's voice came over the intercom. Harrison Kelly, get your team to the Ghost Runner now. This mission just became our last hope. As they raced toward the launch bay, Jack glanced at the view screen one last time. The Craxus ship fired and a blinding beam struck Earth's surface. The damage would be catastrophic. In that moment, Dr. Kelly's idea no longer seemed radical. It seemed necessary. Let's do it, he told her as they boarded the Ghost Runner. Let's not just defeat them, let's make sure no one can ever do this again. The small ship detached from the Valiant and accelerated away from Earth, carrying humanity's last hope toward the distant edge of the solar system. The Ghost Runner approached the outer reaches of the solar system, its advanced stealth systems the only protection for the crew inside. Jack stood on the bridge with Captain Pierce, watching the darkness of space spread before them. Behind them, Earth forces engaged the Craxus fleet in a desperate battle to buy them time. We're detecting a large structure embedded in that asteroid, reported the pilot, pointing to a chunky rock floating ahead. Energy signatures match what we're looking for. The asteroid appeared ordinary at first glance, but as they drew closer, they could see subtle differences in its surface. Too regular to be natural. Parts of it glinted with a metallic sheen when caught in the distant sunlight. That's it, said Dr. Kelly, studying her readings. The Nexus, their Drevni ally who had introduced himself as Krell, pointed with one of his forearms. Craxus ship's guard entrance, 4 vessels. Jack nodded grimly. We expected that. What we didn't expect was allies. On the communication screen, several ships of unfamiliar design approached their position. These were the promised reinforcements, vessels from other species oppressed by the Craxus who had heard of humanity's resistance and come to help. This is Captain Pierce of Earth Alliance. We're grateful for your assistance, Diana said to the mixed fleet. The reply came in several languages, with Olivia working quickly to translate. The message was simple. They would create a diversion while the Ghost Runner slipped past the guards. Everyone, to your stations, ordered Captain Pierce. This is our only chance. The alien ships attacked the Craxus guards with surprising coordination. Their weapons were different, some firing energy beams, others launching strange projectiles that clung to the Craxus hulls and disrupted their systems. The Craxus ships turned to engage, not noticing the small Earth vessel slipping past them toward the asteroid. There's a docking port on the far side, said Dr. Kelly, pointing to her scan results. Hidden but accessible. Captain Pierce skillfully guided the Ghost Runner to the location. With a soft shutter, they attached to the ancient structure and get up, Jack told the strike team. We don't know what's waiting inside. The boarding party consisted of Jack, Olivia, Dr. Kelly, Krell, and 6 soldiers from Earth's Special Forces. They moved through the airlock into the asteroid, finding themselves in a corridor that seemed to glow with soft blue light coming from the walls themselves. This is precursor design, whispered Krell with awe in his voice. Stories tell of this. Never thought to see with own eyes. They moved deeper into the structure, following Dr. Kelly's directions. The interior was a maze of corridors and chambers filled with technology beyond human understanding. Strange machines hummed quietly, and holographic displays appeared and disappeared as they passed. "The central control room should be ahead," said Dr. Kelly, checking her device. "That's where we can access the core systems." As they turned a corner, they encountered their first resistance, 2 Craxus guards. The Earth soldiers quickly neutralized them with weapons designed based on the archiver data. "They know we're here now," warned Jack. "We need to hurry." They ran through the corridors, encountering and overcoming more resistance. Finally, they reached an enormous circular chamber. In the center stood a column of swirling energy that reached from floor to ceiling. Around it were control stations with holographic interfaces. "The heart of the Nexus," breathed Dr. Kelly. "And it seems you have reached the end of your journey," came a cold voice. They turned to see a Craxus standing at the chamber entrance. Unlike the others they had encountered, this one wore ornate armor and carried himself with undeniable authority. "I am Emperor Xerax of the Craxus Empire," he announced, "ruler of 2,000 worlds and soon to be the master of yours." More Craxus. Soldiers filed in behind him, weapons raised. "Did you really think we wouldn't protect our most valuable asset?" the Emperor asked. "This facility contains the key to our power, the master controls for all precursor technology across the galaxy." Olivia stepped forward bravely. "Technology you stole but don't understand." Emperor Xerax laughed, a chilling sound. "Understanding is unnecessary. Control is everything. For 10,000 years we have maintained our empire by controlling access to this technology. Those who serve us receive its benefits, those who resist are destroyed." While the Emperor spoke, Dr. Kelly caught Jack's eye and subtly pointed to a control panel near them. He understood her plan immediately. "Your control is ending," Jack told the Emperor, deliberately drawing attention to himself. "Humanity will not kneel to thieves and bullies." The Emperor's face twisted with rage. "You'll die for that insolence." As the Craxus soldiers prepared to fire, Jack gave the signal. The Earth soldiers launched a coordinated attack, creating chaos in the chamber. In the confusion, Dr. Kelly slipped to the control panel and began working rapidly, with Olivia beside her translating the alien interfaces. Jack and Krell fought their way toward the Emperor, who retreated behind his guards. The battle was intense, with energy weapons flashing across the chamber. "Hurry," Jack called to Dr. Kelly. "We don't have much time." "Almost there," she replied, her fingers flying across the holographic controls. "The security protocols are complex, but the archiver data is helping me bypass them." The Emperor, realizing what they were attempting, shouted to his troops. "Stop them! They must not access the core." But it was too late. Dr. Kelly activated the final sequence, and the energy column in the center of the room pulsed brightly. "What have you done?" demanded the Emperor in horror. Dr. Kelly stood tall, facing him. "I've released the complete knowledge of precursor technology to every known inhabited world in the galaxy. No longer will any species hold power through technological advantage. The legacy you stole is now everyone's inheritance." The Emperor lunged toward her in rage, but Jack intercepted him. They fought briefly before Jack landed a decisive blow that sent the alien ruler sprawling. Around them, the Nexus began to transform. The energy column expanded and the holographic displays showed thousands of transmission signals radiating outward to distant stars. "We need to leave," urged Captain Pierce over their communication channel. "The structure is becoming unstable." They fought their way back to the Ghost Runner, the defeated Emperor watching helplessly as his empire's advantage disappeared before his eyes. As they detached from the asteroid, they could see the Craxus ships retreating. Without their technological edge and with their automated systems compromised, they had lost the will to fight. 1 year later, Jack stood on a balcony overlooking the newly constructed headquarters of the Galactic Coalition in Geneva. Representatives from dozens of species, including humans and Drevni, moved through the grand halls below. The coalition had formed quickly after the fall of the Craxus Empire, uniting formerly subjugated worlds in a new alliance based on cooperation rather than conquest. Olivia joined him at the railing. "The Craxus have officially surrendered their last outposts. They've retreated to their homeworld, stripped of their stolen empire. Jack nodded. And the precursor technology? Being studied by scientists from all member worlds. Dr. Kelly is leading a joint research team. They believe we've only scratched the surface of what's possible. From their vantage point, they could see the memorial to those lost in the brief but devastating war. Among the names was Ben Howard, whose sacrifice had made their victory possible. They demanded humanity kneel, said Jack quietly. Instead, we gave the galaxy freedom. Olivia smiled. Not just freedom, knowledge, understanding, a chance for all species to grow together rather than under the boot of conquerors. Far above them, ships of various designs moved through Earth's orbit, trading vessels, diplomatic shuttles, and cultural exchanges. The stars that had once seemed to hold only threat now offered endless possibility. What do you think happens next? Asked Olivia. Jack looked up at the evening sky, where the first stars were becoming visible. We explore, he said simply. Not to conquer or control, but to learn, together.